Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Wide World of Wellness. And I'm your host, Elton Christensen. In our last episode, we were talking about anxiety and how it affects us and how pervasive it is in our daily lives and within society in general. It presents in so many different forms, but it's mostly associated with fear. So I want to use today's episode to talk about the difference between fear and anxiety. So to start with, fear is an emotional response to a real or perceived threat. So when a threat is present, our sympathetic nervous systems are engaged, and that drives our fight, flight, freeze responses. Now, this is a protective mechanism designed to keep us alive in those life or death moments. And I'll use an example from my own past. Anybody that knows me knows that I hate clowns. When I was 15, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, and all of a sudden this clown jumps out at me and is like, "Hey!" And I panic and I shoved this clown to the ground and I turned around and bolted away in tears. Now, cognitively, I've come to terms with my fear of clowns and I'm able to rationalize them and tolerate their existence without much discomfort. But if you put me face to face with a clown, with no other options, my sympathetic nervous system is going to kick in and my fight response is going to be activated and I'm going to push a clown. And then my flight response is going to activate and I'm going to get on my getaway sticks and get out of there as fast as they'll carry me. And that, my friends, is a fear response. Now, anxiety, on the other hand, is marked less by the threat itself and more so by the anticipation of a future threat. Now, this is also a protective mechanism that promotes preparedness and can be helpful when properly managed. But sometimes a person's experience of fear is so impactful that it leaves an emotional imprint. And that causes a person to react to other situations that resemble or remind them of that experience. Now, sometimes these reactions are completely out of proportion to the reality of the actual threat. In this, the body sets itself to preparing to defend against another threatening experience. It would be like if I spent my days preparing for the next time some rando clown jumps out at me. You know, the mere anticipation or expectation of that threat is enough to activate the fight, flight, freeze response, at least to a degree. Now, how that presents itself in everyday life is unique to the individual. And the most common expression of anxiety by my standard is avoidance. And that's the topic of our next video. You're going to hear me talk a lot about avoidance as we go along because it's so pervasive in our lives and we don't even realize it. So if you're struggling with anxiety, again, I encourage you to seek some support. It's a normal experience. And we could talk about it. Talk with a friend, family member, find a therapist. Don't hide it. There are many, many roads to wellness. So find your path.